Namaha Bhaktam Sarvesham Hartam Swagatam. Welcome back to the channel Sanskrit Sopanam. I hope you are doing great. I'm also good. And moving on in our Learning Sanskrit through Gita series, today we'll be covering the 40th shloka from the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Again, in previous shlokas, in the 30th shloka, we saw how Krishna has switched the narration and now he is expounding on the Karma Yoga. That is the path of action, the philosophy of action. In the very previous shloka, the 39th shloka, we saw Krishna gave a very fitting reason as to why Arjuna should approach this path. When he says, no, karma bandham prahasyasi. So the major concern of Arjuna so far is the repercussions of the actions he is about to perform. And with karma bandham prahasyasi, with the benefit of this path of yoga, Krishna made it very clear that if you follow this path, if you understand this philosophy and if you do your work according to this philosophy, then you are going to get rid of any bondages of the actions. So in the previous shloka, he gave what is the benefit of this path. And in this shloka, he is again continuing and giving some more benefits to convince Arjuna and to convince all of us that about the glory of this path, that is Karma Yoga. So what is it that Krishna is telling us and what we can learn from the Sanskrit point of view? All this we will see. So without wasting any more time, let's quickly dive in today's video. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, this is the shloka. Let me go through the shloka once. Neha bhikrama nashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Okay, so this is the original shloka and this is the Sandhi Vichcheda of the shloka. So let us see what all Sandhis are happening in the shloka. So if you see this Sanyukta Pada, Neha Bhikrama Nashosti. So in this Sanyukta Pada, there are multiple padas. Na, Iha, Abhikrama Nashaha and Asti. So now let us see what all Sandhis are happening. So you see these two pada, Na and Iha. So between these two padas, you are having the Guna Sandhi. So due to the Guna Sandhi, Na and Iha, they are combining as Neha. Okay, so Neha and then you have Abhikrama Nashaha. So now between these two pada, Neha and Abhikrama Nasha, you have the simple Dirgha Sandhi. Due to which now you have the Sanyukta pada, Neha Abhikrama Nashaha. Neha and Abhikrama joined due to Dirgha Sandhi as Neha Abhikrama Nashaha. Okay, and now there is one more Sandhi that is happening between this pada and Asti. What is this Sandhi? So this is the Ukara Sandhi, Utva Sandhi, Nashaha and Asti. So due to Ukara Sandhi, they are joining as Nashosti. So this is how you get this entire Sanyukta Pada, Neha Bhikrama Nashosti. Okay, so I hope all the Sandhis that are happening. So here you have the Guna Sandhi, here you had the Dirgha Sandhi, here you have the Ukara Utva Sandhi. So all these Sandhis, they are clear. Now if we'll move on. So you see this Pada, Pratyavayo na vidyate. So here also the actual Pada is Pratyavayaha. But due to Ukara Utva Sandhi again, this Pratyavayaha, this is changing into Pratyavayo na vidyate. Okay, and this same Sandhi we can see here also, Mahataha and Bhayat. Again, due to the same Ukara Sandhi, this Mahataha is changing into Mahato Bhayat. That is what you see in the original shloka, Mahato Bhayat. Okay, so all these are examples of Ukara Utva Sandhi. See, pay attention to this point that the Sandhi that happened between Nashaha Asti, this is also Ukara Utva Sandhi, and the Sandhi that is happening here, Pratyavayahana and Mahataha Bhayat, this is also Ukara Utva Sandhi. So under the same Sandhi name, you have two different kind of modifications. One modification is when this aha is followed by any mridu vyanjana. So as you can see here, after this Pratyavayaha, after this aha, you have this na, that is a mridu vyanjana. Same thing happens here, that after this aha, you have this bha, that is also a mridu vyanjana. So here this Ukara Sandhi is presenting this modification that after an aha, you either have a mridu vyanjana or you have any other swara. Okay, and this particular one, Nashaha Asti, so it is presenting a special case when after an aha, you specifically have a riswa a as a swara. So this is special case, this is also referred to as Ukara Utva Sandhi only, but just that the modification is slightly different because you can see Nashaha, this becomes Nasho, but this a is hidden by Avagraha Chinna. So just one extra step that happens. Okay, but anyways, all these Sandhis that we saw, they were example of Ukara Utva Sandhi. I hope this is clear. Now one more Sandhi we can spot, which is between Api and Asya. And here the Yana Sandhi is happening, due to which this Api and Asya, they are joining as this, apyasya. Okay, so I hope this is clear. The yana sandhi happens between api and asya, becomes apyasya, and then it combines with this swalpam, becomes swalpam apyasya. That is what you see in the original shloka, and this covers all the sandhis that are happening in this particular shloka. All the sandhi details and the entire word by word breakdown for this particular verse is in the PDF file that you can download from the link in the description box. That is for your own practice purpose. Okay, now let us move on and start the decoding of the shloka. Okay, so we are starting our decoding with this pada asti. Okay, in the original shloka we can spot, there are three kriya padas that we can spot: asti, vidyate and trayate. So we are going to take all these three kriya padas to decode the entire information. And we are starting with this kriya pada asti. Asti, this simply means is. And since we have a na that is preceding it, so na asti, that means is not. And this asti, I am pretty sure everyone is well aware of, comes from asdhatu. What is the form here? So this is the simple lat lakara prathama purush ekvachanam form. Simple as that. So we are starting with this na asti, that means is not. And the question is kaha na asti, that what isn't. And Krishna is saying abhikrama nashaha na asti. Abhikrama nashaha. See, nashaha, this means loss, right? Loss or destruction. In the context of the shloka, this nashaha means loss. And this abhikrama, so abhikrama, this means the effort. Okay, abhikrama means the prayatna or the initial effort you put in any action, in any work. Okay, so nashaha, this means loss. Abhikrama, this means effort. So this samasa can be understood with this vigraha. Abhikramasya nashaha iti abhikrama nashaha. That the loss of effort, that is this abhikrama nashaha. Okay, so I hope this is clear. And since this abhikrama nasha, this is the subject of this kriya, asti or nasti. So this is in the prathama vibhakti ekvachanam. Okay, this loss of efforts can be understood as the failure of efforts, that you put an effort and then it does not produce the result that you wanted, or it does not produce the result that it intended to. So this failure of efforts, this loss of efforts does not happen when you perform any action with this knowledge, with the knowledge of karma yoga. That is what Krishna is saying here. Okay, so I hope this is clear. If we'll move on, so he's saying another thing. He is saying na vidyate, does not happen. See, same kind of meaning. Na asti is not or does not happen. Na vidyate does not happen. Same kind of meaning it is giving. The only difference is the kriya pada is different. This is coming from vidudhatu. Vidudhatu again means to be, to happen in that sense. So this vidhatu in lat lakara prathama purush ekvachanam takes the form vidyate. Something is or something does happen. But with this na preceding it, na vidyate, so something does not happen. And if I'll move on, so again the same question. Kaha na vidyate, what does not happen? So Krishna is again saying pratyavayaha na vidyate. Contrary results does not happen. This is this pratipadika pratyavaya. Again, since this is the subject of this kriya na vidyate, this does not happen. So this is also in the prathama vibhakti ekvachanam form pratyavayaha. Okay, so I hope this is also clear. And now he is giving the same information that we already know by the context of the shlokas we are covering. That kutra, that where this all is not going to happen. And Krishna uses this pada iha. Iha, this is an avyaya, this is an indeclinable, that means in this, in here. And with this iha, he is basically referring to in this path. That is in the path of karma yoga. In the path of karma yoga, loss of efforts does not happen. And contrary results also does not happen. Think of it like this. Iha yoge. Okay, iha yoge, asmin yoge, in this yoga, in this path. Okay, so I hope this is also clear. And now if we'll move on, so he's telling one more benefit. And for to decode that, we are starting with this kriya pada trayate. Trayate means protects. Okay, he protects, she protects, someone protects. And this kriya pada comes from the dhatu tra dhatu. Tra dhatu again means to protect, and the form here is lat lakara prathama purush ekvachanam. By looking at the form, you can already guess this is an atmanepadi dhatu. That is why you are getting the form like trayate, ending with an a. So it is an atmanepadi form. And the meaning is again trayate, it protects. And the immediate question will be kim trayate, what protects? And in response, Krishna is telling swalpam api trayate. You see this pada swalpam. Swalpam means little bit. Okay, another Sanskrit pada can be kinchin matra. No, we say kinchin matra, a little bit. That is this pada swalpam. And api, this is just in the sense of also or even. So swalpam api trayate, even a little bit of something protects. So let me move on and ask this question, kasya, that kasya swalpam api trayate, a little bit of what can protect. So Krishna is telling, asya dharmasya swalpam api trayate, that even a little bit of this yoga, even a little bit practice of this path, that is the path of karma yoga, even a little bit practice of this protects. Okay, so that is the sense Krishna is giving. He is using the pada asya dharmasya. See, asya, this is the sarvanama that is coming from idam. Idam pronoun, right? Idam is used to refer to this. And we are using it for the nama pada dharma. Okay, dharma basically, again, see, just like yoga, dharma, this also has a multiple meanings. Okay, dharma, this also means righteousness, right? Dharma also means the essential nature of anything. And in this context of the shloka, dharma here implies that yoga, that path, that way. And since Krishna is saying dharmasya swalpamapi, even a little bit of this path, so of dharma, of this path. So we are using the Shashti Vibhakti Ekvachanam, dharma changing into dharmasya. The gender for dharma, this pada is pullinga, so this idam also will take the pullinga Shashti Vibhakti Ekvachanam form. So idam changes into asya, dharma changes into dharmasya, asya dharmasya swalpam api trayate. Even a little bit practice of this yoga, even a little bit practice of this path protects. Okay, so I hope all these padas, they are clear. And one more question can be asked, that this protects from what? Kasmat rakshate, kasmat trayate. And for that Krishna is saying mahatah bhayat trayate. Bhayat trayate. It protects from fear. See, bhayat, this is coming from the pratipadika bhaya. And since I want to say even a little bit practice of this karma yoga protects an individual from bhaya, so we are using the Panchami Vibhakti Ekvachanam form. Okay, so bhaya changes into bhayat. And we want to say from this great fear. So this mahat, this is the adjective for this bhaya. What kind of fear? So mahat, a great fear. So this adjective also is going to take the same Panchami Vibhakti Ekvachanam form, and this changes into mahataha. It is an takarant pratipadika, so it changes into mahataha. Okay, so I hope their grammar, it is clear, pretty straightforward grammar. Okay, we have seen all these Vibhakti forms, all these padas, and very simple structure to understand. Okay, and with this, we have covered all the padas. What is the sentence so far? Asya dharmasya swalpamapi mahata bhayat trayate. That even a little bit practice of this karma yoga protects from great fear. That is what Krishna is saying. And what is this fear? So the fear of samsara, the fear of the life and all the experiences that life brings, all the sufferings, all the sorrows, all the grief that life brings because of our transaction with the life in our day-to-day basis. Okay, so I hope all these things, they are clear, and this will become more clear when we do the Anvaya along with the Anuvada now. Okay, so in this shloka also, Krishna is continuing to expound the benefits of the path of action, that is the Karma Yoga. So he is expounding the benefits of this philosophy, and he is saying, Iha, in this, that is in this path of Karma Yoga, Abhikrama nasha nasti. There is no loss of efforts. That is, your efforts never go in vain. Your efforts never fail. So that is what he means by Abhikrama nasha nasti. There is no loss of efforts. And Pratyavayaha na vidyate. Nor does contrary results happen. Okay, and then he continues and says, Swalpamapi. Even a little, that is, even a little practice, asya dharmasya, of this path of Karma Yoga, trayate. It protects an individual from mahatah bhayat, from the great fear, and from the great fear of samsara, of the life and its transactions. Okay, so this is the entire meaning, entire translation of the shloka. See, again, with this particular shloka, Krishna is telling us that how every individual on this earth, how every individual who is living and transacting with the outside world can benefit from this path of action, from this karma yoga and this philosophy. Why? Because see, whenever we take up any initiative in life, whenever we start any work and we put in our initial efforts, there are two major fears that haunt us. The first major fear is, whatever efforts I am putting in, it will not bear the outcome I desire. It will not bear the outcome it should. So that is one of the greatest fear that we always have in the back of our mind. The second greatest fear is, not only will it not bear the result I want, it may bear a contrary result. No, we say कि कुछ करा और उल्टा ही हो गया. So that is also a great fear that we have, that almost everyone have in the back of their mind. And when we perform any work with these two fears lingering at the back of our mind, we can never give our 100% to the work. Because a part of our energy, a major part of our energy, of our mental energy, goes into that unnecessary worry, that all the efforts that I am putting it will not bear any result, or the efforts I am putting in it, they may bear a contrary result, they may bear a opposite result, opposite to what I want, opposite to what I desire. So these two fears are completely rejected by Krishna in this shloka, and he has pinpointedly said this thing, that when you perform any work, he is basically saying swalpamapi, even a little bit practice, even a little bit understanding of this karma yoga philosophy, and if you apply this karma yoga philosophy in your day-to-day life, even a little bit practice of this, no efforts goes to vain, no efforts goes to vain, and neither the pratyavaha vidyate, neither the contrary results happen. So again, this is assuring Arjuna, and through Arjuna, this is assuring all of us that try to understand this philosophy of Karma Yoga, try to understand this philosophy of doing a work without any attachment to the fruit, by doing any work with the Bhava Nishkama Karma. All this he is again going to expound even further in the coming shlokas, but this philosophy of karma, this Karma Yoga, this is the most practical and most beneficial philosophy for almost every being that is living and transacting in this world. And with these examples, with these what you say, no, with these bold claims, Krishna is outright telling us that these are the benefits. So that is what he is telling in this shloka. I hope all the padas related to Sanskrit, they are also clear. You have the PDF sheet. In case I missed out anything, all the breakdown, all the Sandhi rules are there in the PDF sheet for your own practice. I will now take a leave, and I'll meet you with another video in another shloka. Until then, stay awesome, stay happy, keep learning Sanskrit. Vayam punha milamaha. Dhanyavad.